Welcome, one and all, to another episode where we look at an episode of Kamen Saber. We are on episode or chapter 46, Goodbye My Hero. This one's coming really late because I was honestly debating if I was even going to do this episode because it's mostly fights and they're cool and all, but I honestly feel I'm going to get a bulk of the talking points out of next week's episode and just maybe combine 2 episodes into one episode. But I decided, what the hell, might as well just do it 46 just because. So, yeah, let's take a look at this episode as we get closer to the end. So, like I said earlier, this is mostly just fight scenes. It focuses mainly on the fights between the remaining swordsmen and the Lords of Wise. For those of you who don't remember, one was destroyed by the combination of Ren and Daishinji, and probably one of the better fights that Ren's had. Probably really good Ren moments, so if you're a big Ren fan, that was probably really cool. So that leaves 3 Lords of Wise left. One is being fought by Ryo, aka Buster. He's soloing it after he told Rentaro to take off and chase after Toma. And the other is being handled by the Shindai siblings, with Kento and Ren fighting the last remaining Lord of Wise, as Toma makes his way up the Storios. So Ryo is obviously getting his ass kicked, because he's obviously getting his ass kicked, when Daishinji shows up. Now, interestingly, for those who don't remember last week, in last week's episode, Yuri had reached the supposedly dead Daishinji, and remember Yuri has healing powers, but he's also fading away. We don't see any sign of him in this episode, so he most likely used his powers to heal Daishinji at least a little bit to give him some more push for the fight so that he could go forward and help Ryo in his fight. It's a really cool combo of the pair. They really do work well together, and they manage to do a good combination that defeats their Lord of Wise. And here we cut to the Shindai siblings, who are getting their asses kicked by their opponent. Rentaro reaches them and tries to offer his help, but obviously, Durandal and Sabella obviously don't like it when others help them. They're very prideful, which is what's going to get them killed because they end up dying in their fight. But they manage to take out their Lord of Wise. Spoilers. So yeah, they take out their Lord of Wise in a pretty cool combo, but end up dying. And Rentaro reaches Kento and Ren so that he can join them in their fight against their Lord of Wise. As I said, mostly fight scenes, so again, not a lot to talk about, but it's still really cool. On the outside, there is more stuff with Toma, but on the outside, Luna and May are meeting. Again, this is the first time May is actually seeing the adult Luna when she aged herself up into her adult form, which I don't know why she didn't do that earlier, or whatever. Anyway, they meet, and May convinces Luna to go after Toma. Basically because, power, friendship, or potentially love. We don't really know at this point. But yeah, she decides to go chase after Toma because she doesn't have anything else to do, and because of love or friendship or whatever. So she chases after Toma, and May's still staying behind. May is fading away, and I think that might have to do with the fact that she's also someone connected to Wonderworld. Because she was one of the people who were able to see it. So I'm assuming everyone with the connection to Wonderworld is fading away, not just May, because we also don't see Sophia in this episode, so maybe she's dead too. But anyway, so Luna's on her way to Toma. She honestly doesn't make it because Toma has to fight Storios, but it's not going really well for him. So Toma fights Storios, and they start with the moral debate, where we finally get further explanation about what Storios' whole deal was. And basically, he fell into an existential crisis after reading the Book of Destiny, because it meant his poems meant nothing because everything was already written in the book. Which really sounds like a dumbass motivation, but isn't having a... How long have he been alive at this point as a Megiddo? Like, at least a few hundred years. long existential crisis because literally everything about the world is apparently written in the Book of Destiny, and so we just couldn't mentally handle that shit. Anyway, because of that, he decides that humanity doesn't deserve to exist because there's no creativity in humans, and is actively trying to wipe out the world because of it. It's kind of a weird motivation. I can kind of dig the whole fall into an existential crisis and decide to destroy the world because of it thing, but I really wish they phrased it better. There's a debate, honestly, right now if he's one of the worst villains in Kamen Rider or not because of this. I still say Ghost has the worst final villain, but we'll talk about that whenever I do Ghost in like 3 years or so. Anyway, Toma and him fight, and it's a really cool fight, and I honestly like it, because as much as I shit on Saber's story, and I honestly try to look on the bright side of things, but Saber's story is pretty shit. I always say it has pretty good fight scenes, especially this fight scene here. It's a really good fight scene. Toma's story is going all out. Toma using literally all of the swords. We get this cool moment where he envisions or remembers the wielder of said sword, and it's kind of cool, but I still don't see them as friends. Like, the series never really sold me on them as 100% being friends, but still pretty cool. But Toma eventually loses because Storios is just too damn strong, and then he throws Toma into the giant, conspicuous This Is Sparta pit in the middle of his room, just in time for Luna to arrive. So, that's going to play a big part in next week's finale episode. So that's basically the episode. Again, it was mostly just fights. So, final thoughts on this episode of Saber. I liked it, mainly because it was mostly fights. Storios is not the best villain. Like, a part of it makes sense to me, but I honestly think they didn't phrase it well, and that's kind of what's ruining his overall, how the fans are seeing his motivation. It's like, the way he says it is, I fell in the darkness because I saw that my poems are already written in the Book of Destiny, despite the fact knowing that this book contains all knowledge of the world. Like, it was really not well phrased what his ultimate motivation for literally his entire scheme is. I see it as he just fell into an existential crisis because of the knowledge that he got, that everything that he's already done and everything that he's done and will do is already predestined. And so it's literally him fighting against destiny itself. But again, the way it's phrased in the episode, this is all about his poems or whatever. I do like the ambiguity about what's up with Yuri, because, I like that it's not out and out said that Yuri's dead. It just looks like he's dead. This finale is setting up itself a lot like Bill's finale, but and Bill's finale is controversial as shit. So it makes me wonder if we're going to do the same thing as Bill's finale and have like everyone be revived in a way. Because for those who don't remember how Build happened, in Build's finale, Sento and... why am I blanking on Cross Dragon's actual name? Shit. Anyway, those two worked together. Well, mainly Sento worked together. And they merged their world with an alternate reality world where a Volt never existed in order to basically set right the universe, although they ended up continuing to exist in this world because for some reason they couldn't merge with their other selves in the present world. Particularly, mainly because they were probably in the epicenter of it all, but unlike everyone else, who was mostly dead, they didn't merge with their present world selves, or alternate world selves, and they were just in this new world, and then in the later movies, they reset everyone's memories. Like, everyone got their other world memories back and basically returned to how they were. And they brought Evolt back. That was controversial as shit. Anyway, so I'm wondering if that's going to happen here, where maybe Toma will use the Book of Destiny or something and, bring his friends back, or will they all stay on Wonderworld? Kind of like Gaiman's ending, where am I blanking on Gaiman's name too right now? I normally remember it. Where Kota, where him and I'm blanking on her name. I'm terrible with names. Where they took off and basically became Space Jesus and Jesusette to basically start over in another world, or at least start a new life in another world and prevent the Earth from being entirely absorbed by the by the Helheim Forest. I'm terrible with names right now for some reason. Anyway, I say them that a lot. So I'm wondering if that finale's going to happen, where Toma and Luna's leave their world, or leave the current world, in order to prevent Wonderworld from encroaching more and more on the human world, because it's set up like that. But I honestly doubt it. Maybe Toma and everyone will go into Wonderworld, but I also doubt that. I'm honestly wondering how we're going to bring everyone back to life, and I hope it doesn't involve clones, for those of you who've seen Ghost. Overall, like the episode. Looking forward to the finale next week, or this week later on, because this is coming out super late. This is going to be, but it's going to be out on Thursday. So that means only a few more days to the finale. So I'm going to say this here, and I'm probably going to reiterate it, and in the next episode I'm going to do like one big episode on final thoughts on Saber as a whole, instead of individual episodes, just to get everything out there before Revice starts. And then we'll talk about Revice when we get to Revice. I'm not talking about Revice until I've actually seen Revice, although I do have some opinions on Revice already. And some casting stuff. If you know, you know. I'm not talking about it till Revice is actually aired. So, overall, liked the episode. Still not a big Saber fan. Looking forward to seeing this series end. And there's a joke about new series finale traditions, but we'll get to that when we get to it. And so I will see all of you guys next time.